First story of the day. New game announced. We kind of wanted to lead with this because it just seems like a really
I'm really excited for
exciting, unique game prospect. Scavengers. It's a new game from Midwinter Games. If you're not familiar,
which you shouldn't be.
It's
a brand new company.
Exactly.
Midwinter was kind of like a bunch of old devs. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've worked on a lot of big AAA titles. Got tired of being in the AAA environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made the company Midwinter for them to be able to have that kind of small team feel and push a game out that wasn't rushed and wasn't being pushed out by a publisher. This is them going independent, as they say, with a capital I. So it gives them the opportunity to work as a small team, do the things that they want to do, make the changes they want on a more personal level, and then push a more polished game out that meets their vision, not the vision of stockholders and publishers who are kind of saying, do this.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there has been a little bit of a trend towards a little bit of pushback to the big publishers, the EAs, the Take-Twos.
Have we said the name of the game?
Yeah, definitely. I started with that.
Okay.
Yeah. The EAs, the Take-Twos, the Activisions of the world. This is them trying to be like, well, we've shit out Call of Duties, we've shit out Battlefields, excuse me. We've shit out
both. Battlefields
and Battlefronts. Okay, yeah. So they have guys who worked on Battlefront. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We've shit out Call of Duties. We've shit out Halos. So these guys have been there, done that, and they're ready. I think, not necessarily ready, but
they want to get back to that.
To get back to what it was like when they first got into the industry.
Right. And they're taking the approach with this flagship game that they're putting out, Scavengers. They want it to be a co-opetition.
Yes, that's how they've described it.
And a lot of it comes from the team that worked on Halo 5 and Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of those guys have come over to Midwinter, and I believe it's Josh Holmes and Friedrich Persson have come in and said, okay, we're going to take this idea that Warzone had, which was a great idea from start, but wasn't fully fleshed out, right? It had a lot of potential, but it's kind of like multiplayer meets the arena style of like the old firefight, and it just felt like more of a modded firefight than it did a
it felt like a
new thing.
It felt like a Halo game mode, which is what it was, to be fair. So I understand, but they're trying
to gives you some of that PvE,
right,
and some of that PvP. It kind of mixes it together, and so I feel like this game is it's centered around this idea of co-opetition, right? And you can see kind of like the early ideas of this with, again, Halo's Warzones or Destiny's strike scoring, where everybody was kind of competing against each other to get the highest score every week. Or I'm sure there's other games out there that are more like similar to this. I think you could even say like Fortnite in some instances, because you have all these teams of 4 people working together, but they're going against all these other teams,
I would say
25 other teams.
I would say more like a 50-50 in Fortnite would be a better way of, it's kind of going in that direction where you have, or, really like squads. You're right. It is kind of a similar, I think it's a little bit more, well, no, it is kind of like that. I mean, really.
And see, we don't know a whole lot of details on this game. They've given us very little, but we have gotten, there's like 4 or 5 screenshots out there. There's the announcement video that 1 announced the company and 2 announced the game. And they only touched on like their ideas of the company a little bit in the video. And it was really nice and refreshing to see that these people are really passionate about their project, and they really want it to be something that people feel connected with. So they're trying to stay on positivity as much as they can. I think in today's gaming environment and the way that the climate has kind of shifted, there's a lot of negativity in gaming. There's a lot of like angst against the developers, and I feel like this is a chance for people a lot kind of with like Private Division as well. It's a chance for people to actually make games that they care about and that people will care about because the devs care about it, right?
I think that's exactly it. I think that they're trying to really pour their heart and soul into the game itself. And when someone does that, you recognize it as a player. You know, you pick up this game and you see, okay, this game has been made with a lot of care.
Right.
And that's something that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it does sound like a fun type of game as well. And I think it really fits in the current mold of what so many, both gamers and what the game industry itself is trying to go towards, which is kind of a multiplayer focused, but still having single player type elements in it. So I think that, they've got a cool world that looks, cool. Again, it's mostly just all we've really seen so far is concept art and kind of ideas of what this game is supposed to be.
Right.
We don't really have concrete information at the moment about what it's going to actually, gameplay is going to be and stuff. But it's got a cool art style. It's got a great idea behind it, and the team and the thought process behind it seems really, really genuine, and it's exciting. It's really exciting to see.
It kind of looks like Destiny meets, I don't know, like Destiny meets Horizon in some senses.
Yeah, kind of.
There's a lot, like, yes, there's people walking around with crossbows, and they have these little, like, moon-shaped dudes that are kind of following them around and scanning things. And even though the world itself kind of has that whole, like, post-apocalyptic, robotic kind of feel to it that you kind of get out of Horizon. But even kind of the way that the Scavengers, I don't know what they really are called yet, they kind of they have that kind of Destiny, Halo-esque look to them, which I guess is expected. But then they also have these, like, huge demolished cities that feel very reminiscent of, like
it feels like it is kind of like a Horizon, just not as far in the future.
Right.
Like,
like
only
Metro
2033. Yeah, like 100 years in the future, post-apocalypse, not 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever Horizon would be.
I mean, but you also see some of these, like, little robotic dog-looking things, and there's definitely a lot. It looks like stealth is going to play heavily into this.
It looks like there will be stealth elements to it. And it looks like you go out with your team, and it might even have Division-type elements to it, to be completely honest. Like, it might be kind of Division-y where, again, but farther in the future, where the world is even more messed up than Division. But you're kind of in your squad, going out, scavenging, trying to find new technology, trying to find new weapons, and you might run into some other scavengers, and you might want to have to fight each other over...
And so it's really interesting to see that Midwinter, which was founded by former Halo devs, which has team members from Battlefield, Battlefront, Call of Duty, Halo...
Farmville.
I know, right?
I was in the first one you mentioned. But yeah, huge games.
Huge games.
Absolutely massive. And so they have the experience.
Yes.
They know how to work in this environment. They know how to create massively popular games. Mm-hmm. So it excites me because it reminds me of what Destiny was supposed to be in a lot of ways. Before Destiny immediately sold out to Activision, it reminds me, like, this is what Destiny was supposed to be. It's got a bunch of guys who worked on Halo or other major, shooters like that.
These guys worked for 343,
not Bungie.
So it's...
But I meant like they work on the Halo franchise.
It's in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
They know a lot of the same thinking that the original Bungie guys
And from what I understand, 343 did have Bungie guys in it. So it has a little bit of that. It just reminds me of what Destiny was supposed to be. It just really it brings back the nostalgia of Bungie separating from Microsoft and going off to be a capital I independent company. Mm-hmm. And then they immediately sold out. So
I'm excited for it.
It excites me. As long as they don't immediately sell out, I'm excited for it.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either.
Because Spatial, I know, or Improbable, has given a lot of money to Mavericks. And I think they're doing the same thing with Scavengers.
Yeah.
And I think the more we see about this game, the more it will start to hype up. And right now, it's definitely on my radar. It's going to be... I'm paying attention to it, and we'll see what comes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and we'll give you guys an update when we hear more about this game. But for now, I mean, it's just exciting to see. It's cool.
Yeah.
And you guys should check out. There's several articles have been written about it by now.
I'm gonna go out on a limb.
There's not much to know, but if you want to know more about it,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it'll be 3 years before we see this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, games take a long time. Unless they've been developing it quite a bit in secret.
Right.
I agree. It'll be at least 3 years, maybe 2 if
just the size of their team alone just makes me say like
right, it's going to take a while.
And if they take the time to really polish it the way that it's supposed to be and the way that it seems like they want to, it's going to be at least 3 years.
Yeah, agreed.